Biden-McCarthy reached debt ceiling deal to avoid default, and here's what's in it. President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy have reached a debt ceiling that on June 5th deadline. Biden described the bill as a compromise where no one got everything they wanted. The 99-page agreement includes provisions to keep non-defense spending stable in 2024 fiscal year and increase it by 1% the following year. It also included a 2-year debt limit increase. The deal fully funds Medicare for veterans, including $20.3 billion fund for toxic exposure, and expands work requirements for the super supplemental nutrition assistance program SNAP, and with changes expiring in 2030. The agreement resents around $30 billion in unspent coronavirus relief money, while exempting funding for veterans, medical care, housing assistance, Indian Health Service, and a program for COVID-19 vaccines. It introduces changes to the National Environmental Policy Act to streamline the process. Additionally, the deal ends the pause on student debt loan repayment within 60 days. Although the GOP's proposal to rescind the White House plan to waive student loan debt did not make it into the package, the House is set to vote on the legislation on Monday. So here are 6 things you must know from the new debt ceiling. From political, number 1, work requirements. The deal tightens work requirements for SNAP and temporary assistance for needy families. And it introduces new time limits for receiving food assistance affecting individuals up to 54. Number 2, energy permitting. The deal permits mining changes to the permitting process for energy projects, clean energy funding, totaling hundreds of billions of dollars. COVID Act clawbacks, IRS cuts. What's the IRS cuts? The deal claws back a portion of the $80 billion in funding to the IRS. The exact amount is not specified, but it's relatively small compared to the Republican demands, which is sought to rescind over $70 billion. SNAP spending caps, they went from non-defense largely flat at around $637 billion. So in other words, the left won and got what they wanted. That's what the negotiation sounds like. Defense funding is capped at the president and 86 student loans. The deal preserves President Biden's plan to cancel student debt up to $20,000. The agreement allows the Education Department to resume collecting monthly student loan payments and interest, potentially costing around $5 million each month. So, Tom, when you see this here, who won this negotiation?
The Democrats did. There is no strong, enduring change that's going in here. Remember the IRS, all those new agents and all the regulations are going to go out and do all this and turn the IRS into a sort of a militarized. Guess what? That $80 billion is still intact. The thing I read said that maybe $10 billion was trimmed off of it. And remember, that $80 billion was new. Remember all those agents that they were going to hire and everything? That's all in there. So, okay, take $10 billion off that, but the rest of it's funded. And then you look at the student loans. Student loans, okay, you're still going to $20,000 off the top. So the American taxpayer covers that for everybody that studied art history or, one other useless degree.
Feminist theory.
Yeah. Exactly. Sitting on debt. All the rest of us are going to take care of them for $20,000, but they can go back to trying to collect the balances from everybody else. And the other part that I noticed, check this out. The work requirements and the needy assistant, they expanded but they sunset the limits in 2030. What's 2030? That's 2 presidential elections and a midterm away. So there is an intentionality to kick the can on providing entitlement. Here's what the Republicans got. They got out of it saying, hey, we want to reduce all this dependency money. We want to reduce this entitlement money. We want work requirements so that we don't. Basically, it becomes universal basic income if you're just giving it to people and there's no requirement to work. You follow that, Pat? It basically becomes universal basic income, except all of a sudden you go back and this is going to expire in 2030. So the Republicans put an expiration in there. You know what the expiration is? 2 presidential elections from now. It all goes back to free money. And the energy permitting, minimal changes the permitting process for energy project, which means it's not allowing drilling and expansion of shale oil or other things like that. But clean energy gets its billions, which is going to head right for the auto industry at $7,500 a car if you buy a green car. But just don't try to plug it in California, because when all those people in California have electric cars, you're going to cause.
So in other words, Biden is a better negotiator than McCarthy.
Yeah. Somebody got up to the I don't know if it's Biden is a better negotiator or there was just more.
Can you imagine if you're McCarthy, you're in your 40s, 50s, you're young, for the rest of your life, your legacy is going to say you couldn't negotiate with an 82-year-old.
Yeah.
What a freaking great legacy for you guys. Great job.
That was
58 years old, got out-negotiated by a 24-year-old older man who has a hard time going up the stairs, falls 3 times, but he beats you. And then by the way, while you control Congress.
Yeah.
While you control Congress. It's not like you didn't have Congress. You have Congress.
House of Representatives.
And you were House of Representatives, and you wouldn't drive it harder to get what you wanted. There's a lot of people on his camp that are not happy with their negotiation. So
the only thing that's good about this is $30 billion, which was effing pork, that was sitting off to be used for any purpose whatsoever that was part of the coronavirus relief. That was $30 billion that the Dems had put in there to use for anything. That got axed. It's called an earmark. It was a big earmark, and that got pulled out. But you look at everything that's in here. This is such an opportunity to do things for the country. And they kicked the can down the road, and they gave in on a bunch of things. And they put a 2030 deadline and going back to the American public, basically giving UBI to a lot of people that are perfectly able to work and just don't want to.
And Biden's going to spin this. Obviously.
Biden's what?
Going to spin this.
I would absolutely spin.
Of course.
Spin as in what? To say, hey,
look what we did.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Agreed.
But by the way, if this were a movie, we've seen the debt ceiling thing happen year after year, every handful of years. If this is a freaking Marvel movie like Tom talks about, it's like the world's coming to an end. We need someone to save us. The debt ceiling's crashing down. Oh, Marvel did it again. Thanks, Captain America. Thanks, Superman. Thanks, Batman. We all know how this was going to end. Thank God. But it's not like they were gonna let this happen.
Yeah,
in America.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, a former government employee here, like the government operates in what I call controlled chaos. Continuing resolutions, raising the debt ceiling all the time. I think we've done it like 100 times or something like that since like World War II. So they're always operating under, okay, let's just get this, let's make it to this point and then just increase the limit.
Kick the can down the road.
Exactly. It's literally quintessential kicking the can down the road.
Exactly. But at some point, that road's going to have to come to an end.
Yeah,
and that
government
can's
shutdown
got to get
comes,
recycled, homie.
The government shutdowns, all that stuff. I've been through several government shutdowns when I was an agent, and it's just, and then here's the thing: you're considered an essential employee when you're law enforcement.
Yeah.
So you would still go to work and be like, all right, I guess I'll get paid in a lump sum in like a month from now. It just
right, because that paycheck's coming, just not now.
It comes just not now. Whenever you have a government,
it happened
shutdown.
under Trump, I want to say, where they the whole negotiation with Pelosi and Schumer. And she's like, yeah, everyone's going to blame you. And he's like, I'll take it.
Don't worry,
blame.
I'll take it.
And then but what we saw happen is, 67% of this country lives paycheck to paycheck, including government employees for sure. So when they don't get their check in 2 weeks or in a month,
oh, I remember
the crowd gets restless.
The last government shutdown that went down when I was an agent, like everybody was freaking out, man. Like, oh man, what's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. This is, pre-pandemic. But yeah, every time it happens,
it's like in
people freak
18,
out.
I want to say.
Yeah, like 18. Yep, under Trump. So luckily, it didn't last as long as when it was under Obama. But it happens, That's what it is. The government is perpetually kicking the can down the road.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.